Hi, how are you?
Good, how about you?
Good. How was your weekend?
It was good. I got to go back to Nebraska and see my family. My little brother played a basketball game, so I got to see him play.
Did they win?
They did. It was a close game. They won by 2 in overtime, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
It
How old
was.
is your brother?
He's 12, so he's getting older and into sports, and he was point guard, so I got to see him play, so it was cool. I was proud.
Is he the youngest?
Yeah, he is actually the youngest on his team because he's a summer baby, so we made him go to preschool twice, so.
Nice. You ready for break?
I'm ready for break and so are my kids.
Same.
Yeah, do you have any Thanksgiving plans?
We're just going back to Nebraska to hang out with my family, and that's about it.
Grandparents and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do that too. I'm going to Iowa for my dad's side. It's really small. It's Exira, Iowa, and there's like 3,000 people. So cool. They live in the country, so that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Okay, so remember that our priority standard for this social studies unit was for our students to be able to read maps and use the compass rose to identify their cardinal directions.
Yes.
The I can statements for this assessment were I can interpret the compass rose, I can distinguish different landforms, I can tell you which direction I went, I can interpret the key, I can locate the scale on a map, and I can create my own scale, I can create my own key, and I can create a map of my neighborhood.
Yes, okay, so the data showed that 77% were proficient on the questions accessing symbols on the legend, the cardinal directions, and map terms, but only 63% were proficient in answering the essay question.
Okay, so what were your students' strengths on the test?
My students' strengths were knowing the symbols on the legend and the difference between a map and a globe.
My students' strength, like they knew the compass rose directions and the map terminology, but they had a really hard time answering the essay question. Some of them didn't even answer it. I don't think they really knew what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, my biggest problem too was it seemed like my students didn't answer all the questions or they just didn't do it at all, so maybe they didn't understand how to answer it fully. But yeah, my students had that same problem, but not only that, but they also had a problem with the differences between longitude and latitude. Okay, so here's an example of one of my students who didn't do anything. He didn't write down anything, he didn't try, so I'm not sure what he was struggling with or if he just didn't feel like doing it. But a better one would be a girl, she did a lot better. She just missed small points. For example, she was supposed to describe at least 6 things she saw on the map, but she only described 4. And with the legend, I said 4 different symbols and they only did 2, so it could just be a lack of motivation in trying, but otherwise she did really good, so we just need to make sure they know how to fill out every single question.
That's kind of what mine was too. They didn't answer all the questions, so hopefully when we go over it they'll learn more.
Yeah, so that's a common problem we can work on. Because your students perform so well on the latitude and longitude portion on the test, would you by any chance be free tomorrow sometime to come into my classroom and teach a lesson to my students?
I'm actually free tomorrow afternoon if that works for you.
Yeah, that works. Is there anything you need that I could get in order to teach the lesson?
Well, when I taught this lesson, I had my students create maps and they put ribbon on the latitude and longitude lines. So I'm going to need to print off some maps for that. And then do you have any ribbon that your students can use to create them?
Yeah, I can get ribbon, yep.
Okay, well if you can bring that, and then do you have like markers and scissors and glue and stuff that they have access to create them?
Yes, I do. I have all that stuff.
Okay, and then they just use the ribbon to label the latitude and longitude on the line, so it really helps them kind of, they have a visual they can go back to and actually understand it. So.
Okay, so if I don't have ribbon, but string, could string work
works
too?
Yeah.
So either way, I could let the kids decide to make it more fun for them.
Sweet, and then if that doesn't work, there's a couple other lessons that we can probably talk about. Okay, so back to our SMART goal. And so our SMART goal is to increase the percentage of students proficient in answering essay questions.
Yes, so we had 63% of our students at proficient or higher. How would you feel about having our percentage at 85% by December 1st?
I think that should work. That would give us plenty of time, at least a week to work on that, so that'll be good.
Okay, do you have any ideas for how we can teach this lesson?
Since they had a hard time answering it, I think we should break down the question, like just tell them how to read it and how to answer it. And then we should do a lesson on reading the prompt and the question, like figuring out what the question is asking, and then we can do one on how to actually answer the question, make sure you have all the parts.
Yeah, that sounds good. So for homework then, we could do reinforcement activities that require them to answer like other writing prompts so they get more practice, and we can do this in the classroom to make sure they're getting the idea, and then we can do this at home for even more reinforcement.
That'll be good.
Okay.
So our SMART goal is percentage of grade 1 scoring proficient and higher and answering essay questions will increase from 63% to 85% by the end of December 1st, as measured by a teacher-created writing prompt. It will be administered on either November 30th or December 1st.
Okay, that's really good, especially since there'll be Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay, so our instructional strategy then could be, let's say, breaking down the steps of how to answer an essay question and giving students focused reinforcement practice in class and at home.
That's good. And then since neither of our students did very well in the essay section, we should find a time to meet them so we can create a lesson that's the same and use it for each of our classrooms. And then we can reteach them how to actually
reteach
and
it.
what we expect, so it's the same.
Okay, and adding on to that, so after we reteach this, let's say there's still not a very high proficiency, but we could go between the two classes and basically like the longitude and latitude, go and see what we did right and reteach that again, but hopefully it works out.
Yeah.
So does Friday afternoon work for you?
Yes. It does.
Okay.
And we're meeting this Friday at noon to go over the latitude and longitude
Yes,
stuff.
perfect, awesome. Okay, so do you have any other questions before?
I think it's good.
I think so too. See you then.
See ya.